we are up here at my household altar. I'm pretty happy because I just finished this painting of Carme recently. Carme is the Minoan goddess of the harvest, and she actually survived into Greek mythology where she became a lesser spirit or demigod that helps Demeter with the harvest on the island. But I just finished the painting, so I'm excited. And if you're interested in seeing a better image of it, or maybe buying a print of it, you can check it out on my Etsy shop, Flowers for Gods. So etsy.com/shop/flowersforgods. So I've been putting some artwork up there. I'm trying to sell some pagan artwork, and I take commissions too. So today, though, I wanted to do a book review video for this channel. So I have another channel that's like a study book review lifestyle channel. I'm trying to figure out the vibe for it. But I've done book hauls on there and a book review or two. Normally I would put my book reviews there, but this book is more spiritual. So I want to put it on this channel. So the book I finished reading for one of my Goodreads book groups is The Mist-Filled Path. Celtic Wisdom for Exiles, Wanderers, and Seekers. While I don't worship any Celtic gods, I have Irish and a little bit of Scottish heritage, so I'm kind of interested in learning more about Celtic spirituality and mysticism. So I was excited to start reading this, and for the most part, I did like the book. I found the first 2/3 of it to be more engaging than the last third, and that's mainly because he started talking about the divine feminine and then Celtic Christianity, which is not something I'm interested in. I was raised Catholic, but I moved away from that. But overall, I thought this was a good book. So, and the author, he includes guides you can do to get in touch with nature or in touch with your own spiritual self, which I thought was very helpful. I haven't tried any out myself, as outlined in the book, but I do see some similarities to some of the things I do. I love nature, and one of the things he talked about in the book was his experience when he was younger, when he was a child, of just walking in nature and being in nature and feeling nature around him and the spirits around him, which he later realized were the spirits and his Celtic roots coming up to him. So when I was young, I would just take walks in nature. I would walk around in the backyard barefooted, and we had a tiny woods area, but it wasn't huge, but enough that you can go in and be surrounded by trees. So I like to walk back there. I like to walk barefooted, like I said. I was kind of a little bit of a hippie child, I guess, a little hippie me. But I always really like that connection with nature. I like just sitting out there and breathing and feeling the energy around me, which is what he talks about in part of this book. The first part is about connecting with nature, and it's about some of the key aspects of Celtic culture, such as hospitality. He also reiterates that later on in the book. He talks about dreams, connecting with thin places, what would be the other worlds, the astral, where the veil is thin, those types of places, connecting with spirit, the ancestors, connecting with the ancestors, connecting with both the human world and the spirit world. That's what he talks about at the beginning, how we need to reconnect with nature and the spirit world. We've kind of lost that touch. And that's especially true in the United States, where everyone feels like they have to constantly be busy. We don't take breaks. We're always going. And sometimes we need to stop and we need to just sit down and breathe, be in nature. Reconnect with ourselves, reconnect with the spirituality around us. This is one of those books that I wanted to read and kind of take notes on and explore the ideas presented in this, because I thought it would be helpful and detailed in that aspect, and I feel like it was. I feel like this is a good book if you're interested not just in Celtic wisdom and Celtic spirituality, Celtic mysticism, but if you're just interested in general about connecting with the spirits, connecting with nature, connecting with that type of energy, that type of mysticism, then I think you might enjoy this book. So the author here, Frank MacEowen, I can't really pronounce that. I'm sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he describes himself as Scottish American poet, teacher, and shamanist. in the visionary traditions of his Celtic ancestors. A native of Mississippi, he holds retreats in Celtic spirituality. He's kind of like a spiritual healer, and he talks about that a little bit near the end. For the second half of this book he talks about his journey towards shamanism and how he's connected with his ancestors and with the spirits. That was also a very good part of the book. I really enjoyed reading that. But yeah, so he goes on, he talks about how the soul also needs treatment. You can't just treat the body, you need to treat the soul, the spirit, which I like that, but you have to be careful because it could get dangerous. There's people out there trying to sell like natural remedies, and like it's actually harmful for you. So he talks about his own journey, and he offers some guides on walking the line of the soul. So he offers some guides that look interesting. I haven't tried any yet, but some of them are similar to what I have done already. Gives some information about some Celtic traditions and some Celtic stories. One issue I made note of, is in the book he talks about, I'll quote it, Westerners are sometimes criticized for studying and practicing shamanism and told that they are stealing traditions from tribal groups, when it may well be that many of us actually hail from a part of the world considered the cradle of shamanism. So Celtic shamanism, some people don't like that word, some people do. I'm not going to get into that. But I do want to mention that you have to be careful because plastic shamans do exist, and if you're not Native American, you should not be touching Native American style shamanism. And that's kind of why some people stay away from the word shamanism. Some people, especially if you're into the Celtic kind of spiritualism, you just go Druid. You call yourself a Druid and you study Druidity. But okay, so in the book, the author, his mother is friends with a Native American healer, an actual Native American healer, and he's been invited to and gone to events like peace pipe events and sweat lodges. The thing is, he's been invited, so he's been allowed. Some people just go in and they just want to take it without being welcomed. That's where the problem is. If you're welcomed into a space, there's really no issue. I mean, there's none that I can see. If you're welcomed and people allow you into their space, maybe they teach you some things, and if you follow their rules and you're respectful, I don't see the problem. But if you're not welcomed, you don't have any business taking from certain cultures, the closed cultures. Like some Native American tribes, they do run sweat lodge retreats, and some non-Native Americans do end up going there. That's something they choose to share, and that's perfectly fine. But then there's people that just go in and they, without getting involved with the tribe, without being Native American, without asking permission, without seeking out a teacher, they go in and they just start taking, and they claim they can do Native American healing. These are plastic shamans, and they just sell these services. And none of that money goes back to the tribe. It goes directly to them. That's an issue. And some people sell Native American made goods that are not Native American made. They claim it is, but it's not. So the tribe doesn't get any of that money. And the issue is that these Native American cultures have been oppressed for so long. The United States, my country, try to wipe out these practices and try to wipe out these people in these cultures. So that's why they're closed, and that's why you have to treat it with respect. If you're not given permission, don't touch it. Like, especially because there's no need to. Like, there's so much from our own cultures that you can go explore. Celtic culture has so much to offer, as you learn in this book. So he goes on and he talks about Celtic spiritualism, some of his own experiences. As you get to the second part of the book, he starts going on about his own experiences. And he shares one story about how he had a near-death experience. He was deadly sick and he almost died. And he felt his soul leave his body and it went on a journey. And that's how he ended up getting into shamanism, and it changed his life completely. So when he had that out-of-body experience, it goes back to the whole idea that the soul needs to be treated as well as the physical body. His soul needed to be treated, and once he started doing that, he was given the choice to die or live and have your life changed forever. Serve the ancestors, serve the spirit. So obviously he chose to live. I thought the story, I don't want to give too much away because I really enjoyed the story, and I think it was a very powerful story, and I'm glad he included such a personal story about his own journey towards Celtic shamanism, as he calls it. And again, and after that story, he was invited or kind of forced by the spirits to go participate in the Native American sun dance, but he was sponsored by Native Americans, so he was allowed in. Again, he was allowed in. he kind of has this approach where everything's connected. So he's not very strict with the whole idea that you need to have permission to enter these Native American spaces, which he has permission again. I know I'm going on, but it's kind of a big thing within the pagan community. Like, if you look at neo-pagan and neo-Wiccan books, a lot of them are just like, take whatever you want, who cares? But it's important to acknowledge that some practices, some religions are closed, and you need to respect that. A lot of them you can be initiated into. You need to respect the process and the people. Anyways, it doesn't really apply to him because he's been invited. He was sponsored to participate in the Sundance. So I thought the story is actually very interesting, and I'm very glad he shared it. Here's another guy, Practice Earth Awareness. He also included a lot of poetry in here from not himself, I don't believe, because he writes poetry apparently, but from other poets that inspired him. A lot of Celtic poets. So the book is called The Mist-Filled Path, and he connects his own journey with Celtic heritage and Celtic traditions into what he calls the mist-filled path. And so here's a line I'll quote. The spirit of the mist says, "This is your life. Blend with it. This is the soul of the world. Seek to accommodate opposites. The Celtic code of living states, your life is a gift and a pilgrimage. See every day, every event, every moment, and every act as a renewable point in time offering you a new beginning." I highlighted that because I thought it was a good point to bring up. The first few moments of morning become another dawning of creation. We open our eyes and are born anew. And I made a note that I connected that to the mythology of Ra being the Egyptian sun god. He is literally the sun, and he is born every day and dies every day. He's renewed every day. We open our eyes and are born anew. A silent walk on a beach, punctuated by salt water, gust of wind, and gossiping gulls, becomes a kind of soul message. And I made a note that I can relate to that because I feel like that whenever I visit the beach. So I really connected with a lot of this book, but where it started to lose me was near the last 1/3 of the book, where he started talking about Celtic Christianity and also the divine feminine. So he had this weird mixture of Christian beliefs and Wiccan ideas, which was odd to me and also does not apply to my religious path. He's talking about creation, and I made a note that creation is not as important in daily life, and it seems such things become less important to others. Why does a creation myth and creator God need to exist? Because he talks about creation here, and I'm like, that's not really a concern of mine. I don't really care. But one of the things he talked about that I really was not into was the idea that we need to be more in touch with the feminine, especially men, because men don't have that, because Christianity does not have that. But the thing is, Christianity does have that. He was raised a Protestant, a Methodist. So, I mean, I was raised Catholic, and Catholics have the Virgin Mary. Every Catholic knows who she is, and she is our feminine energy. She's Mother Mary. It's kind of sad because some Protestants in the U.S., they demonize Mary, which makes no sense to me. Like, it's an attack against Catholics. They say Catholics worship Mary, which is not true. Like, I've seen some videos where these pastors, like, smash a statue of Mary. I'm like, that's the mother of Jesus. Like, if you don't want to include her in your prayers or whatever, that's fine, but, like, you're being disrespectful and stupid, in my opinion. But maybe that's my Catholic upbringing, all right? But honestly, so he starts talking about the goddess, which has like Wiccan vibes, the way he's talking about the divine feminine and the goddess. And he's talking about that alongside, back to the book, he's talking about the goddess and Christianity in the same kind of like paragraph, which is so weird to me. It feels like he believes everything goes back to one creator, divine God, whether it be the God of the Bible or the Wiccan god and goddess. It feels like he believes that they're all one and the same, this one creator, divine entity. That's the vibe I got from this book, from this part of the book, these last few chapters, which is not my belief system, and I still trust because of it. But he goes on about getting in touch with the divine feminine, how especially men need to do that. And I mean, if you like that kind of topic and discussion about divine feminine and the powers of women, you will like this. Alright, sorry, my laptop just kind of messed up there. So anyways, what was I saying? Something about feminine, and not everyone connects to that feminine idea. But, you know, I don't really like the whole divine feminine talk that you find a lot of neo-pagan and neo-Wiccan kind of literature. So that got a little weird at the end. I did not really connect with that part of the book. However, overall, I thought this was a very good book. I really appreciated the author's personal experiences that he chose to share within this book. And I also think he does a great job presenting Celtic traditions and Celtic ideas about the spirit world and how we need to connect with nature and take care of ourselves and, you know, stop and just center ourselves and reconnect with nature and slow down and not be so caught up in, you know, ourselves. We have to take care of our spiritual body and our souls as well. We can't just be busy Americans. So yeah, overall, I would give this like probably 4 stars. I did enjoy it, minus the little ending, which just does not apply to me. But if you're interested in Celtic Christianity or have that kind of belief that everything is connected to one divinity, you might like the last 1/3 of the book. But still, regardless of that, I thought it was a great book, a great little introduction to Celtic ideas and traditions and mysticism. So I really appreciated it. I thought it was good. I would recommend this to anyone interested in exploring, you know, Celtic shaman traditions. That's how he phrases it. So yeah, if you're interested in Celtic mysticism and Celtic shamanism, as he calls it, I would recommend taking a look at this book and getting it. It honestly reads as very authentic and very real and true. It's not like lighthearted. He also has some guides that I think would be worth trying out if you want to. I might still try some out. And if I do, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, I would recommend this if you're interested in Celtic mysticism. Definitely pick this up, The Mist-Filled Path.